So I've just finished the first 2 episodes of Static Shock, and man oh man, am I happy this won the polls. I've been wanting to talk about this show for the longest, and now I finally have the opportunity to. I remember when Max first came out, and this was one of the first things I decided, hey, I'm just gonna watch this and just enjoy it. I did want to talk about some of the episodes, but I don't think I was making review content at the time, or I wasn't confident enough in doing just talking about specific episodes or something. I'm not sure, but now, I'll talk about episodes. I can finally talk about Static Shock. Because this is how I want to review Static Shock, because some episodes, you guys know the episodes, need to have dedicated videos of their own. So I had to do it in this format where other shows that are finished we'll get the full season review format instead. Static has always been one of those shows that I've had so much love for and so much nostalgia for, but I could never understand why until going back and watching it as an adult. So I want to go ahead and get this elephant out of the room, because a lot of people would expect me to bring this up when talking about Static Shock. It's about somebody like me, somebody I can relate to a lot, and it's crazy that this show came out in the early 2000s, because it's nuts. It genuinely is. Not only is the show about a black family, but it's also about a black kid that kind of doesn't fit with cultural standards or the stereotypes represented from other black students his age and stuff. I can relate to that, genuinely. And it's just really interesting to see that portrayed early on. This came out in 2000, and there's gang violence in the first episode. But before I get too ahead of myself, let's go ahead and discuss the first 2 episodes. The first episode being The Incident. I think it was called Shock to the System. And it's about Virgil having his normal life, getting all nervous, getting all the giddies about asking this girl out to homecoming. But before he gets the opportunity to, she kind of libros him a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. She kind of friend zones him a little bit, dog. But before he could get the question out, boom, Francis comes and stops him. Francis, the bully. Why are all bullies in these TV shows named Francis? And his nickname is F-Stop? Come on, dog. Come on. But Francis starts picking on him, about to beat him up, but then Wade stops him. And he never got the opportunity to ask, I think her name's Frida, out to the homecoming. And then later on we cut to after school, and Francis catches up with him again to beat him up. And it's a lot more scary this time, because this time there are gang members stopping him left and right from going away, and they're holding him down so Francis can beat him up. It's getting a bit, it's getting a bit charged. This is so crazy that this came out in the early 2000s. 4 kids. But Wade and his crew's pulling up, so Francis and them left, and Wade decides, hey, I want to initiate you in my gang. What? Virgil doesn't belong in that type of situation at all. This is one of those things where everybody is kind of sort of taking advantage of Virgil for their own selfish reasons, but Wade and them are doing it in a way where it's seeming like they're trying to help him. Hey, we want to help you, we want to be like your family. So they pressure him into joining, and they have this big hit they want to do that night. They want to go ahead and deal with this Francis situation, so they're gonna take care of him tonight. And for defense, he gives Virgil a gun. Not a laser, not some weird card or something. No, an actual gun. And Virgil's like, no, I want nothing to do with this. So he throws that in the water. He's stuck there in the middle of this fight. Francis sees him. They're about to have this crazy fight, and the cops stop them. In a more black series, everybody would just be arrested. Virgil would probably be the one arrested and taking the most blame for that. It'd be crazy. And in this situation, the cops shoot at them, which I guess is also something that could happen. Crazy that it's shown in the early 2000s. And one of those shots ends up going towards these test tubes with the Dangerous logo or something on there. It explodes, this cloud of gas circles around the entire factory, and everybody ends up passing out. And that's how Static Shock is born. He now has these weird static powers he has to get used to, becomes a superhero, he shows them off to his friend Richie, and he escaped a very dangerous situation right there, because they mentioned earlier that his mom died from gang violence. He lives in a single parent household, and they reverse it again where it's his father who's taking care of him and his sister instead of the stereotypical single mom who takes care of a family. It's beautiful. It's a great story. I love Static Shock. Now he fights crime, and uh-oh, Francis also has powers. I do want to talk about the Bit Bang itself in general, because that's what they call that incident, the Bit Bang. A lot of people in this Bit Bang incident seemingly die, or at least are in terminal pain. Like, people are like melting into sludge, melting into blobs. But then there are others that turn into animalistic creatures. There are people like Static and Francis who develop some sort of elemental powers. There are a lot of other people, and I don't think the show ever goes into detail of the origins of the gas and where it comes from my memory at least. And I would really like to know. I'd also like to know how different the show is from the comics, because I do feel like the show is kind of different from the comics. But this is where the rivalry begins between Hotstreak and Static instead of Virgil and Francis. They end up having this rivalry. Static gets beat up the first time. He has to go through this trials of trying to find some confidence in him, being like, hey, you can't bring your personal relations into this fight. You're now Static. You have to be Static right now and not Virgil. That eventually leads him to being able to take on Hotstreak and get into upper hand in him, because the cool thing about Static, unlike Francis, is his wits. He can think about stuff a little bit better. He doesn't have street smarts per se, but school-wise, I think he's very smart, very brilliant, which is why he's able to outwit Francis in this situation where Francis is like, oh, we're out in the open, you can't use any metal or anything around us, and he's like, bro, there's metal on the ground. He ends up using the sewer line to pour poop all over him. Crazy. And that's how the episode ends, with Static getting the upper hand by pouring poo on his opponent. This show's lovely. I can't say anything more than this show's lovely. I love the fact that Static has a very supportive, but also very normal family. Like, he gets along with his family very well, but like, he gets on his dad's nerves and also his sister's nerves, and they pick on each other a lot. So it's not like a crazy supportive family. It's just a very normal family, but you can tell they all love each other, and they raised him correctly, because in the situation where he got the gun, he's like, I don't want to use this, and he threw it away. He's like, my dad would kill me if he found out I'm involved in this gang activity, which maybe his dad does know something's up, because we don't know how he got home when he got consumed by the gas. Everybody passed out, and the next time we know, he just wakes up at home. So it's 100% possible that his dad knows, and he's just letting him take his time and open up when he can. I don't know. We're gonna get this a lot within the first 2 seasons, and I do kind of just feel like saying it now. The difference between these first 2 seasons and the last 2 seasons is that this one tries to make it clear that even though he's Static, he's still a human. Even though he's a metahuman, even though he's a bang baby, he's still a human. He's still Virgil Hawkins at the end of the day. So he still has to deal with bullies. He still has to deal with normal romance stuff. He still has to deal with high school stuff. That's just the everyday life for him. And that's kind of why I see seasons 3 and 4 as something completely different, because it focuses a lot more on Static's world, and it doesn't really show us that much more of Virgil. He teams up with superheroes more. He's just having a lot more superhero adventures within those. So it just feels like super different, tonally at least, from these first 2 seasons, where it's more grounded. There's a life lesson involved within these, and the death of his mother is like a big thing that kind of grounds him and holds him to wanting to be Virgil and wanting to be a better human and stuff. It's very interesting. I like both seasons, regardless. I do like the second intro better than this intro, though. I will say that for a fact. But yeah, that's basically it. What are your opinions on the first 2 episodes of Static Shock? Leave them in the comments down below, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Do you guys prefer that I talk about Static like this, almost episode by episode? I know I've talked about the 2 episodes within here, and I'm probably going to do something similar to that within the next one, but I feel like this is a better way, so each individual thing, if there's something important that comes up, it can get highlighted on their own. Or would you have rather me just go into detail within an entire season? Because I could also do that. I could write out a whole script and thing for that. But I think this is a little bit more, personable. It's like talking to a good buddy. I like that. I like talking to you guys. It's cool. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know what other shows you'd like me to look at. I read everything. You guys know that. So yeah, I'll see you guys and talk to you guys as soon as I can. Okay. Goodbye.